Well, well, well. Look who it is. It's been a while. Um, I guess you could say fancy meeting you here. God, it's been so long, it's almost like I don't know how to talk to you. Mainly just because a lot's changed in the maybe 2 years since we last spoke. But okay, wait. Oh, yeah. It's been about 1.5 years since if we average it out, since we last spoke. So there's a lot to catch you up on. This is the perfect time for a little bit of a conversation between you and I. God, well, the last time we spoke, I think it was about, I want to say 2025.
Really though.
24. Oh, no, that was definitely 2024.
What's going on? Fancy seeing you here.
Check. All right, hello. I had just been laid off.
And I'm unemployed.
Or maybe somewhere towards the start of 2025 when I had gotten a new job.
And yes, I know it's just another yap session.
Yeah, let's just say a year. It's been a full year and a half since I last spoke to you. And a lot can happen in that time. Now, I'm sure you know this. I'm sure there's been a lot that's happened with you. There's probably a lot of growth that's gone on since we last met. And well, I want to hear about it. But that's for you to tell me down below. I think this little conversation is meant for me to catch you guys up on everything that's happened to me in the past year. Only strictly 2026. That being said, I don't know if this is the best like place to have this kind of conversation. There's a lot of traffic through here. I'm sure you've seen a couple people pass by already. But let's go to somewhere, though arguably more populated, something a little bit more intimate between you and I so we can have a proper conversation. One where you get to see what I've been up to for the past 6 or so months. All right. So let's talk. So, okay, let's start where we left off last. I was either unemployed or newly employed, but it doesn't really matter in this context because all of 2025, I had worked for one place. And though I am grateful for my experience there and the people I met there, it wasn't very fulfilling. In all honesty, it's kind of the reason why I'm here now. So I guess thank you. But to put it plainly, last time we talked, I was both all over the place
To those of you that do know me, that might come as a bit of a surprise to you.
and stuck.
Plain and simple, I needed to go outside. I needed to touch grass.
I had so much going on up here, but everywhere else in life, I didn't know what to do from there. Essentially, I wasn't going nowhere, but my mind kept racing. Not the best place to be, I'm sure you can tell, but it had me thinking. I was lost. I found my way back to my family and my friends only to see that maybe I went about life wrong. Not to say that I was doing horrible things and I just wasn't a good person, more so along the lines of my friends and my family, they were growing up. They were graduating college and getting into college, all in pursuit of something more, or they were already achieving more. And I didn't want to compare myself, right? We've all heard the saying, like, comparison is a thief of joy. But when I see my friends doing amazing things and seeing them have so much growth, not just in their life, but in their careers and relationships, it made me think, made me pause. It was scary because, like in college or right around the time where when I stopped attending classes, I started to see my friends move on, and I felt the feeling of FOMO, or I guess more like I didn't want to be left behind and kind of be a cautionary tale of someone who could have done more with their life only for them to get complacent and really just stay lazy. I was still hanging out with friends, I was still going out with family, and I was enjoying my time. I was having a lot of fun that year, but bills kept adding up. My expenses kept on rising, and my whole demeanor started changing. Although I was spending more, I wasn't earning more. And it's not about it wasn't really about the money, but it was more me looking to the future, me looking ahead because my friends were meeting people, settling down, my friends were building their careers up, and really at the end of the day they were adulting. It wasn't something that I saw for myself at that point in my life, but I wanted to. you know it's hard to think about wanting a family and like a future plan when, well, you don't think about your future. And my stubborn ass was very much like, no, I'm gonna thug it out. I'm gonna work at this dead end job, entry level job, and figure out how to get this whole content creation gig to work, or let my photography kick off and be what sustains me. But I didn't do anything with it. I kind of just sat there in my room, getting into a very lazy routine. And when I started to really think, like, how am I going to live like this? First of all, got to get my life together to an extent where it's more than just cleaning your room.
It should not take 2 weeks to clean a room.
It was more than just, getting fit or going to the gym or building a routine, because at that point I had built a routine. It just wasn't healthy.
I'm Jason.
It was more about, where do you see yourself in a couple of years, and what do you plan to do with that information? And so I finally reached out to my dad specifically, because he had been nagging me about this opportunity and these things related to my dreams as a kid, but I guess I had stopped seeing that for myself. Denying your inner child, denying who you were as a kid and your dreams as a kid sucks. And I guess that's kind of what led me to where I was. But then it hit me. Who says I have to give up on my dreams as a kid? If this is something for me to do, for me to like achieve, and a goal to chase, a ball to fetch, whatever it might be, why shouldn't I? Who says that I can't follow my dreams, right? Like, who says that I can't be a pilot? The cool guys walking around the airport wearing suits and tassels, a cool hat, flying people all around the world just so that they can see the people that they love, see other cultures interact, eat some of the best foods that the world has to offer, see the most beautiful sights to ever behold a human's eyes. Well, a lot of things told me that I couldn't. One, the time commitment required to do so. I would have to have years of experience and, well, money to get me that experience in flying. And even then, I wouldn't be guaranteed a seat at the cockpit, because I'm not the only one who had that dream. Flying a lot as a kid, they all saw those same people, the pilots walking around. Of course, I'm not going to be the only one that wanted to be a pilot. But then I thought about it more. To be a pilot, you're sitting in a pretty lonely cabin or cockpit for hours on end, only with maybe 1 to 2 other people to keep you company. And you'll have to be locked in every hour. On top of that, you're responsible for hundreds, if not thousands of people a night to make sure they get it to where they need to go safely. And I don't know if I could do that. As much as I love driving, I don't know the first thing about aerodynamics or keeping track of the weather. I still don't. I can't do that. My years of work experience had been talking to people, building connections, interacting with other people that I might never see again, but having that sort of conversation. That's what I wanted to do for the rest of my life, was build connections, talk, and look good while doing it. Now, it just so happens that the opportunity that my dad was trying to get me to apply for, well, my idea of it was just that. See, just for some context here, my dad has been working for United for the past 27 years. He's a ramper. He's the one doing all the heavy lifting, quite literally, putting bags in through whatever weather condition, rain or storm, freezing cold or blistering heat. He's out there almost every other day, breaking his back so that my family and I could see the world. And my mom, she's a nurse, once retired, back in the force, taking care of people. You know, she's not just ensuring health, but giving people care so that they're comfortable through some of the hardest times in their lives. Who am I to take that for granted? Who am I to look at everything that my parents have done and are doing and say, nah, I'm gonna be an art major, drop out, who, well, isn't gonna contribute? Then I looked at the application that my dad sent me, and well, it started looking really good to me. Flight attendant. United flight attendant? Are you kidding me? Yes. Not only could I fly and have my office be in the skies, but I could do what I learned to do best. And that's, yeah, talk, interact, see people maybe once for the rest of their lives, but be able to try and make an impact. Now, that's something I felt like I could maybe do. Did I know that I was going to make it? No. Did I know how hard it was going to be? No. Did I even look into what all of this, like what a flight attendant really does? No. But I took the leap. I jumped in head first and I sent that application. Whoever's in the skies wanted me to be there because right when I wanted to start traveling, see my friends, visit my friend in Colorado, and do all of these things, and well, got tired of working as a server, I had gotten an email saying, "You made it to the next step." And at that point, I told myself I'm never stepping foot anywhere else until I get this job. Now, that's a lie. I did step out, I did go out, but I wasn't about to work again until this was my career. And oh boy, what a ride it was. And here I am. It was a bit longer of a process than honestly I initially signed up for, mainly just because I didn't know what I was signing up for. Unknowingly, against pretty much all of my wishes, I had signed up for exactly what I didn't want to sign up for: classes, lectures, a school environment. But this is what I wanted to do. No, scratch that. This is what I needed to do. So I went through with it. Thankfully, I had made it past the first stage, then to the second, then to the face to face. Now, if there's one thing you need to know about me, I'm fairly confident in myself, almost a tad bit too much. So whenever I saw that I made it to the next step, to the in-person interview, I was like, it's as good as sealed. This right here, this is me. This is all me because I'm a talker. Most likely, I would be a bard with Charisma is my highest stat, maybe wisdom as my third, but my second, probably constitution, considering how much I eat. I'm a little charismatic, if you will. So when we got to the in-person, I figured that my charm might be able to carry me. But I was so confused. I'm gonna be so honest. When I got to that like face-to-face interview, I didn't realize that it wasn't just me. It was a bunch of us. There were like a solid, I think maybe 50 people in that room that were just like me. They had made it through all of these different stages of interview processes. It wasn't just me. So I had to interact with other people. I didn't know this. I was very much convinced that it was just gonna be me. No, but we made it work. I just tried to be myself, what I thought myself would be, and at every step of the interview process, that face to face, I had thought that I didn't make it. They were very convincing when they joke around saying, "I'm sorry to tell you this, but you made it to the next thing." Like, that's crazy, right? Like, that's scary. It's terrifying. But we made it. I got the call back saying, "Hey, just, here's your CJO. Go get your vision tested, go get your hearing tested, and we'll get back to you with the training date." And I was ecstatic. I was on board, pun intended. I was ready for this next stage in life. I sent in my results, and then they tell me, "Hey, when you
Have you ever had a dream?
did the like resume and you did the application, you had said that you'd be okay with relocating." And they gave me three options. Clearly, I'm there now, or at one of those locations, but I digress. There was still a long, long way for me to get there. And little did I know that I would meet some of the most amazing human
That you had you
just I would meet the most amazing people. Like, just some of the coolest cats ever. But I still had to make it to training. This whole time, my parents are saying, "Hey, no, you got it. Like, you got it already." But I'm worried. I'm terrified. I'm like, what if something happened to my background check and I don't go through? Like, I don't think I have anything to worry about, but you never know. Is there a ticket that I didn't know about that I didn't do? And then now, like, do I have a warrant out for my arrest? I don't know. We have to figure it out. And clearly I did, but it was stressing me out. Everyone's telling me, "Nah, like you'll get there, you'll get there." My dad specifically is like, "No, you already got it. Don't worry about it." But like 100% honesty, how am I supposed to know that? I'm stressing out over here. But then I get the call saying, "Hey, training starts at this date." I was about to pack my bags and meet my friends, but then they sent a follow-up email less than like a minute later saying, "Hey, by the way, you can move up to the earliest class." And let me tell you this. I was terrified. I wanted to do it so bad because, one, hey, I get cracking with this. I get started earlier. I can reach my goals sooner. But also, I wasn't going to see anybody that I'd met at the interview. I was going to be in a completely open space. I was a fish in open water. The sharks could have gotten to me. I wasn't going to have a school of fish to help protect me, but I did it anyway. I had a little less time to meet up with my friends, had a little less time to spend time with family, and boom, day before, maybe 2 days before, I go and see my closest friends. We hang out, we do some stuff like super casual, just the stuff that we'd always do. You know, chilling at the crib. We got food. We watched whatever on the TV. I think we were watching the basketball games, and we were just being us. Unbeknownst to me, they give me a little a care package with some of the most sentimental gifts I've ever received. I was surprised by my friend Lana, but I got to see almost everybody that really mattered to me before I left. So CJ, Freddie, Brianna, Marianne. I didn't get to see Brianna before I left, but I'm sure I'll see them again. That group of friends I got to see. And I think that was what I needed to know that I was ready to move on to the next stage. Spend a little bit more time with the boys. We got Waffle House like we always used to do. Off I went to training. When it comes to training, some of the wildest 6 weeks I've ever experienced. I wasn't going to be able to go home. Like, yes, the training was in Houston, but knowing myself at that point, I needed to know that I was ready to live without my parents, to live without all the conveniences that that might come with. And well, I took the risk. And when I got to training, I had essentially moved into this hotel room and convinced myself that everything that I need to get for myself. Now, have I figured it all out yet? No, not entirely. But I'm getting there. And I think that's kind of the whole point of essentially moving out, learning to figure everything out by yourself, just so you know that you can do it and you can start doing it. Essentially, I get to training, I meet 99 to 100 other amazing people, and our goal by the end of this is to get our wings. Those 6 weeks, man, they passed by really fast. Uh, People aren't lying when they say that, time goes by when you're having fun. I didn't realize I'd have that much fun at training. I knew that I'd have a great time, but when it comes to training, and I did a little bit of research, but I thought I'd be stressed out of my mind. I thought that at every step of the way, I'd be trying to figure, how am I going to remember this? How am I going to remember that? What is this? What is that? What is this? What is that? Only to realize you think like a flight attendant, it's common sense. Now, it does take a little bit of time for you to start thinking like a flight attendant, but it kind of makes sense, especially when you realize that, hey, as much as what we see as customers isn't exactly the full extent of the job. You see, being a flight attendant, first and foremost, is a safety profession, more along the lines of a nurse or a firefighter. Like, no, it's not that intense all the time. Like, we're not first responders. But if you know the history of a flight attendant, it makes a lot of sense. I mean, after all, the first flight attendants, they had to be registered nurses. They had to be qualified and certified and knowing what to do in case a medical emergency happens. And then you start to think, wait, there's so much more that you need to be prepared for. What happens in this situation? What happens in that situation? And then you realize, and they tell you these things, they show you these things. They're just like, hey, when everything goes wrong, they're gonna start looking at you. What are you gonna do? Then the gears start turning, your heart slows down just a little bit for you to focus, and you realize, I have a job to do. Let's learn how to do that job first, right? We go through safety drill after safety drill. We learn reasons and numbers and all these things as to why certain things are in place. And so we're ready. Then we get to, this is how you operate this door. This is why we do this in this scenario. After this altitude, you got to keep in mind, all of these little things that you don't consider until you get to that point. And it makes sense while you're sitting there in these lectures, in these little drill rooms, in these classrooms. You look around and you're seeing all these other people that you now consider friends, maybe even family, because of what you've gone through together. And you're just like, we got to all make it through this. Because I want to see every single one of these people in the skies with me. I want to work with all these people. These are all people that I want to be co-workers with. These are all people that I want to share the cabin with. And for the most part, that's what happened. 6 weeks or 6.5 weeks go by, and we get to graduation. There was an email that was sent like halfway through training that said, hey, do you want a guest pinner? Somebody to pin your wings on you when you graduate. And throughout all this time, my family has been there for me. My mom is worried sick about me calling me. But my first thought was, who got me here? My dad, the original Jay. Now, where Jay comes from, some of you already call me Jay, some of y'all call me Jason, Jayso, whatever. But Jay, the concept of the name Jay. But my dad goes by Jay. And when he named me, he's a little jokester, he is. he named me Jay's son. And I held that proud, and I still hold it proud. But when I got to training, I had the opportunity to put in a preferred name, a name that I wanted everyone to call me by. What better name than Jay? See, my dad still goes by his full name at United, and there was another Jason in my class. So to distinguish myself from him and, well, to kind of embody the person that I want to grow into whenever I left home, I wanted to put a name to it. So I chose Jay because when I come home, when I see my friends and my family back home in Houston, I want to be able to hear them say my full name. Hey, Jason, it's good to see you again. I want that name to mean home. And out here, Jay, it's not a persona. It's not somebody I'm trying to embody. It's just who I'm going to be, who I want to be. Jay is going to be someone I want my family to be proud of when I come home and they call me Jason. So when they said pick a guest pinner, my first thought was to my dad. Now, how cool would that be? Right? Just the thought of it too, the theatrics, the storyline of it all. A father who works for United as a ramper, breaking his back every day so that he can provide for his family, but also give the gift of flight and travel to his kids. For him to almost pass the torch in being the one to pin my wings on my uniform, to say, I bestow the gift of flight to you. I could fly for myself now with the same benefits, maybe even more than he did. And I get to pass that on to my kids eventually in the future. I can be what my dad was to me, to my future. And that's what really I was looking for. Like, I'm a legacy, both in within the company and in my blood. And I'm proud every day because of it. But when graduation hit, that marked the end of a chapter and the start of a new one. And with that chapter closing, with the prologue now finished, begins a new one, a new story, a new setting, almost a new life. But of course, with nostalgia getting in the way of everything, a lot of thinking back to the past. But with all that being said, I want to be the first to welcome you to San Francisco.